Today in the news, more than 3,800 new coronavirus cases were confirmed in Texas. High schools across the country are trying to figure out how and when students might return to classrooms this fall. And the City of Dallas Hospital Capacity Report. Today is June 23rd, 2020, and this is Dallas Weekly News. Hello, I'm your host, Deontay Toombs, and this is Dallas Weekly News. Health officials in Texas have reported more than 3,800 newly confirmed coronavirus cases and 17 additional deaths due to COVID-19, the disease caused by the virus. There are at least over 100,000 cases on Sunday and over 2,100 deaths, an increase from 3,800 deaths from 107,000 cases reported Saturday, and 2,100 deaths compared to the 2,165 reported a day earlier. The actual number of people contracted the virus that is likely higher because many have not been tested, and studies suggest that people can be infected and not feel sick. Health officials reported more than 68,000 people have recovered from the virus, and that there are more than 40,000 active cases, with over 3,400 people hospitalized. For most people, the coronavirus cases are mild or moderate, symptoms that clear up within weeks. But for others, specifically older adults and people with existing health problems, the highly contagious virus can cause severe illness, including pneumonia, and be fatal. High schools across the country are trying to figure out how and when students might return to the classrooms this fall. Many are also making sure their star quarterbacks and other athletes will be in shape when they do. While states have been easing the economic and social lockdowns prompted by the coronavirus pandemic, some are now letting high schools or athletes return from summer workouts before teachers and have even figured out how they are going to hold classroom instruction. In places like Texas and Florida, where Friday Night Lights culture of high school football runs deep, strength and conditioning seasons are bringing thousands of athletes to school for workouts, even while those states are seeing record numbers of new cases and hospitalizations since Memorial Day. Some schools have already been sent scrambling when a player tests positive. A football powerhouse, Arlington Martin High School near Dallas, about 600 athletes attended the first day of summer conditioning training on June 8th. That many kids following state social distancing guidelines were spread out over 4 athletic fields. 8 days later, however, those same fields were empty when the school suspended workouts after a student tested positive, and Wager and his staff began the work of tracing all of the athletes to get everyone to quarantine. Still, dozens of states have been welcoming back high school athletes for strength and conditioning training programs, according to the National Federation of State and Student High School Associations. In all, tens of thousands of high school athletes are working out or playing games, and with the virus and cases and hospitalizations rising in hotspots, their return is raising questions of whether it's too soon or not, or if this is risky altogether. In Texas, the University Interscholastic League is gearing up for its 100th season of football as the state's governing body of public high school sports. Oversees 1,300 schools with nearly 170,000 players altogether. States allowing summer workouts are requiring social distancing measures and health checks. That includes regular sanitizing of equipment, space limits between athletes, and symptom and temperature checks before arrival. Contact drills are restricted, and athletes are told to avoid shaking hands and giving high fives. States do not appear to require the testing of high school athletes, citing cost and difficulty with managing such large numbers. Still facing high schools is the question of how to play the actual game, particularly football, when bodies crash into each other on the field in every play, and whether they can host large numbers of fans, acknowledging that crowds might not be small or even allowed. The UIL recently lifted its ban on live broadcast of Friday night games for the upcoming season. Texas announced this week that schools will be open for in-class instruction this fall, with details to come later. And now, the City of Dallas Hospital Capacity Report. This has been Dallas Weekly News for June 23rd, 2020. Find these stories and more on dallasweekly.com. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I've been your host, Deontay Toombs. Stay home and stay safe.